This reading is for Will, Erica, Jane, Janine, James, Robin, Mary, Alex, Sal, Lethea, Alexandra, Robin, Rocky, Suzanne, Brianne. Thank you for this week. It's been pretty stunning. Points of clarification. And though I say here, sorrow beguiles me, I lose no sleep. And though I say our country's journey is one long rigmarole, its villages and ridges are succulent and sweet. And though I say here, watch me now. Truly, I'm shy as stage curtains, demure as tiny cups of espresso, and though I quote Wordsworth, Zagajewski, and Dow, I come from gunshots and beatdowns, raw and dirty. The day was mild, the light was generous. And though I've said in the past, I wear September on my face, which is eternal, I treasure too June mornings soaked in song, July's fevered cauldron wilting us like seared spinach. And though we say darkness succumbs to the light, I've been reading Faust, questioning the morality of knowledge, our icebergs and mountains auction, earth collapsing, human flesh for money, crickets barking loud as generals. And though we say I do unto, I do, death do on cue, I'll forever hold her. A jewelry box in my lap full of prayers and stays against confusion. And though they say world without religions, without revelations, instinct effaced by reason, I swear I can reach up and touch a familiar laughter. This is for Ilya, Nicole, Jessica, Reginald Gibbons, David, Laure-Anne, Dana, Maggie, Patricia, Adrian, Suzanne Williams, Jennifer Litt, and Lynn Thompson. Thank you. This has been a stunning week. I've had the great pleasure of teaching and someone bring up my new book that I haven't seen since the fall, when it was a advanced reader copy, which people today call ARCs, and I used to just say a first pass. And I'm really grateful that Erica came up with this book and asked me to sign it. I was almost. And I'm going to read from it for the first time. So thank you all for listening to these poems. Major and I, hand in hand, remove our dark suits, but the other Major prefers to undress in glass revolving doors. He is a fan of prohibition cocktails, whose potions afford him time travels of the landed gentry. I let Major sport his dangers, which magnify his ambitions, so he can write his grandiloquent poems. And thus ours is a compromised relationship. I more cautious than a slug, and he the sampler of pythons. Major is a fan of Peruvian folk songs, wood-paneled libraries, rare colognes, and old issues of Esquire. I, on the other hand, prefer American football, treasury bills, and vintage sports cars. Only once did I try to escape his clutches, this other Major. For years, I survived his rank songs, which make the Spanish cantors weep. His fingers carry the bitter taste of coffee, which occasionally I sniff, for they are the color of ancient bark. Forgive his pretenses, he who wrote that last sentence. It is probably true he wrote most of this, but I am unsure, for I live just behind him, a single keystroke shy of his many thoughts. Beware his black rituals. The other Major flies in his daydreams, which means he's collecting a paradise of mirrors, where I sit studying the prose of Toomer, Faulkner and Morrison. Latinate though he is, master of the outside, he digs the gangsta lean and is more thankful than a sunroof top. His broken strings, like his stubble, issue forth a wintry path at night for white walls. See what I mean? Major never won attendance awards, and for sure long ago he left behind cigarettes and the guarded strips of lotto tickets, but cherishes still the big hit. Admit his charms and you've a friend for life. He will send you sunflowers, true, even from his coffin, not true. And although he never learned to play the violin or the mouth harp, a radio plays like an all-night laundromat behind his eyes. And thus, he lives year-round in the boot camp of self-redemption. For this, the other major needs lots of sky. You are that sky. This next poem emerged one night while I was listening, emerged when a friend, Roger Bonaire-Agar, posted about a database that Cornell University has put together of ads seeking fugitives, slave fugitives. And at the time I was listening to a group called Tribe Called Quest, and we spoke about the Cento or Cento earlier, and I decided to meld the language that was in the fugitive slave ads and some of the lyrics of Tribe Called Quest. Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. Yes, runaways. Yes, property. Yes, polyrhythmatic with a big fat boom. Yes, sojourners. Yes, secret passaways. Yes, classified ads with rewards up to. Yes, she will doubtless deny to whom she belongs to. Yes, Frika bourgeois. Yes, very black negress about 20 years old with a Negro nose. Yes, homebound, sometimes absent herself from the subscriber, sometimes believed to be in the city, sometimes ran away on a Sunday night last, the 27th of this instant, from the subscriber living in Bucks County, a Negro woman named Fan, a short, thick wench about 18 or 19 years of age, very black, thick lips. Here we go, yo. Sometimes had a short gown and petticoat made of linseed, a large bundle of other clothes for herself and female child about 3 years old. It is expected she has been assisted by some Negro or mulatto. Yes, mama say, mama sa, mama kusa. Yes, boom bip. Yes, base in a space means peace. See you later. Yes, can read and perhaps write. Yes, can speak several languages, sometimes very flippant. Sometimes she's a smooth-tongued witch. Yes, I will pay for her $500. Yes, whoever shall take up and secure said servant so that her master may have her again, shall have 40 shillings. Yes, causing rambunction throughout the sphere. Yes, so do that, do that, do that, that. Do that, do that, do that, that. Do that, do that, do that, that. Yes, Leroy. Yes, Celia. Yes, children. Yes, stories about Africans. Yes, runaways. Yes, ghosts. Yes, free people. Yes, free. Yes, people. You know, this is a great place because people invite love poems at this conference. That's a wonderful thing. Now that you are here, I can think. What you really are is felt, the mainland of your feelings, a young Veronica Webb. And what we share are solutions, and not so much the Parisian air you tired of, nor the fat, sweaty bee corsing a décolletage, an unlikely consequence of the Kyoto Protocol, but the pleasures of lounging below French-style windows open wide as arms, whose blousy curtain is a shawl that formally hangs and informally shifts when you drift into the room like a Spike Lee dolly shot. The kids are dancing to some Ariana, but I'm watching what you do with your lips when reading silently around 4:22 p.m. on a late Sunday afternoon. I have a weakness for marble winding stairs and tight two-person elevators, but the brasseries are waiting, as well as the football fans who need help cheering, for we are Americans after all, and are ready to hype even the locusts on the day of judgment. I don't care about the midfielder or the winger. You're smiling, and that's all the defending I'll ever need. Signs. At twilight, the griots sang the great pain of the seas, and where sunlight bronzed a baobab. I wanted nothing as a child, but mysteriously felt the grief of 1,000 years. I saw captivity everywhere, in the stadiums, among a phalanx of pews, smiling behind a gold-plated mouth as deaf lyrics flew at me so fast, I felt my daughter's body cursed into my lifetime, into my next lifetime. It's true, most don't remember being dead. Leaving the nightclub, flies trembling the air. I once believed museums, parables of silence offered reprieve, and books arrayed all the lights in heaven. Instead, I wander, joining the lords of obsessive talk. Soon we will waken. Until then, I'll continue to pass through several spheres, pretending to be a cloud. The most beautiful man never performs hard labor. I am sure my grandfather would be ashamed of my hands, for they carry nothing and are soft as downy feathers. And I am sure he'd look askance at my treasured collection of stemless wine glasses and fashionable ascots. I'm sure he'd smirk at the sight of fresh-cut flowers delivered at my door Tuesday afternoons when my silken thoughts make like schools of minnows, and so too the cantatas filling my house, and me paddling like a dog through the recitatives, so unaccustomed my hands to the shape and feel of a revolver or the wood shaving tools he kept in his tool belt like armaments. I'm sure he'd shake his head at my having paused beneath a fruit tree on a bicycle with a basket, carrying a French baguette and a collection of Lorca's poetry, angling for your touch. The flaneur tends a well-like summer cocktail. The flaneur tends a well-like summer cocktail curbside on an art-like table. He's alone, of course, in the arts district, as it were, legs folded, swaying a foot so that his body seems to summon some deep immensity from all that surrounds. Dust shadows inching near a late 30-ish couple debating the post-galactic abyss of sex with strangers. Tourists ambling by, only to disappear into the street's gloomy mouth. A young Italian woman bending to retrieve a dropped Metro card, its black magnetic strip facing up. A lone speckled brown pigeon breaking from a flock of rock doves, then landing near a crushed fast food wrapper newly tossed by a bike messenger. The man chortling after a sip of flaxen-colored beer, remembering that in the Gospel of John, the body and glory converge, linked to incarnation, and so perhaps we manifest each other. A tiny shower of sparks erupting from the knife sharpener's truck who daily leans a blade into stone. A cloudscape reflected in the rear windshield of a halted taxi, where inside a trans woman applies auburn lipstick. The warlike insignia on the lapel jacket of a white-gloved doorman opening a glass door gets a whiff of a dowager's thick perfume and recalls bailing Timothy Hay as a boy in Albania. The woman distractedly watching a mother discuss Robert Colescott's lurid appropriations of modernist art over Niçoise salad suddenly frees her left breast from its cup, where awaits the blossoming mouth of an infant wildly reaching for a galaxy of milk. The sharp coughs of student carrying a yoga mat, the day's last light edging high-rises on the west side so that they seem rimmed by fire just when the man says, and yet amidst the wages we pay, boarding the great carousel of flesh. Let's see, this is my first, did I say this is my first time reading from this book? I don't know what hits, you don't know what the hits are yet. Okay. So you just gotta wing it. Oh, there it is. Oh, I read that one. Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, I think that is in here, isn't it? Yes, it is. Thank you. That helps. 25. My child's inheritance. My children's inheritance. A fancy for high green hills by a sea, baggy spaces in the day, a knack for gunpowder thinking, a library humming like a swarm of gnats. The intrigue of a woman with a pitch-perfect mind, blinking eyes whose silence is ancient and naked, a grave which is not a grave but a ruin to visit in middle age. A chifforobe of half-empty cologne bottles in various colors and dried flowers, more dignified in death, both evidence that I once cherished bouquets and timelessness. Bullet casings, a bowl of seashells, fine pins, one the Aurora Diamante with its two-toned rhodium plating that glitters when my right hand rages toward heaven. Love of big plates of pasta, Argentinian folk music, African rainforests, and the speeches of Lincoln that missed the pages of my books more than my doorways. A habit of dancing when the needle drops its existential beats, a disregard for the enemies of linnets and macaws, fears that match the hawk-haunted buttes out west. A hard desire for justice, the habit of lip biting when trouble nears, the way my mouth opens like a flower, my quiver of arrows that outweighs the world. Leaving the animals to bear witness, memories of laughter that was bread and water, stylish hats, ways to time travel, the consequences of mistakes and second thoughts gummed to the future, a collection of radios, stacks of vinyl, the limitation of secrets, long nights that cascade like waterfalls, my madness, granular and complex, sealed like a footfall. Okay, these are my last two poems. You reader, so often I dream of the secrets of satellites, And so often I want the moose to step from the shadows and reveal his transgressions. And so often I come to her body as though she were Lookout Mountain. But give me a farmer's market to park my martyred mass, and I will name all the dirt roads that dead end at the cubist sculpture called my infinity. For I no longer light bonfires in the city of adulterers, and no longer smudge the cheeks of debutantes hurriedly floating across the high fruit of night. And yes, I know there is only one notable death in any small town, and that is the pig farmer. But listen, at all times the proud rivers mourn my absence, especially when, like a full moon, you, reader, hidden behind a spray of night blooming, drift in and out of scattered clouds above lighthouses, producing their artificial calm, just to sweep a chalk of light over distant waters. My last poem is called Double Major. Couldn't help it. Double major. I emerge whenever he confuses the lamp for moon. It is then he thinks of fine bindings and ordered athenaeums. I own his face, but he washes and spends too little time behind his ears. He sees me in the mirror behind thick clouds of shaving cream, then suddenly believes in ghosts. His other selves are murals in the cave of his mind. They are speechless yet large. They stare his wishes like summer rain and amplify his terrors like newscasters. What he doesn't know, his dreams are his father's dreams, which are his grandfather's dreams, and so on. They possessed a single wish. He knocks repeatedly on the bolted door to his imagination. Tragically, he believes he can mend his wounds with his poetry, and thus I am his most loyal critic. He trots me out like a police dog. He calls our thirst for pads and pencils destiny. Our voices come together like two wings of a butterfly. On occasion, he closes his eyes and sees me. I am negative capability. The test to all men are created equal. We are likely to dance at weddings against my will. He pulled out the same moves writing this poem, a smooth shimmy and a hop. This page is a kind of looking glass, making strange whatever stone carvings he installed along the narrow road to his interiors. I suffer in silence, wedded to his convictions. He would like to tell you the truth about love, but we are going to bed. To bed. Thank you.